The 2024 presidential election is now just 2 months away, meaning that the polls are getting more and more important. So let's take a look at the latest poll in every state. First, we'll get all of the solid states out of the way: Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, South Carolina, West Virginia, Kentucky, Missouri, Kansas, the majority of Nebraska, both of the Dakotas, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, Maine second, Nebraska at large, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, and Alaska are all firmly in Trump's column. On the other side, Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, the District of Columbia, and Maine's first are all solidly in Kamala's column. This puts Trump at 219 electoral votes and Harris at 191. We begin in Nevada, where Trump holds a narrow 1-point lead, making this state a tilt Republican at the moment. The latest poll, conducted from August 29th to 31st among 800 likely voters, reflects a significant shift in a state that has leaned blue for the past 4 presidential elections. However, it's important to note that Nevada has been getting closer with each election cycle, and this may be the year it finally flips to the Republicans. Just across the border, Arizona is showing a similar pattern, with Trump also leading by 1 point, tilting the state Republican. This poll, from the same pollster as Nevada, underscores the competitive nature of the Southwest in this election cycle. Moving on to New Mexico, the latest poll shows Harris with a 7-point lead, making this state likely Democratic. While the poll is a bit older, it aligns with historical trends in previous polling that have consistently shown New Mexico leaning blue. Georgia is once again proving to be one of the most closely watched battlegrounds, with the latest polling showing a tie between Trump and Harris. Prior polls have shown both candidates holding leads at different times, reflecting the state's volatile nature. According to the Real Clear Politics aggregate, Trump holds a minuscule 0.2% lead, so will tilt the state his way for now, though this lead is effectively non-existent. Georgia's significance in this election cannot be overstated. With its diverse electorate, including a large African-American population and rapidly growing suburbs around Atlanta, the state is a microcosm of the national race. The tie in Georgia suggests that both campaigns will need to pull out all the stops in the final weeks to sway undecided voters. North Carolina is showing a very close race, with Trump holding a 1-point lead, making this state a tilt Republican. The prior poll showed a dead heat, indicating that the state is becoming increasingly competitive. This is noteworthy because Trump had much larger leads in North Carolina just a couple of months ago. North Carolina has been a swing state in recent elections, and this year is no different. The state's electorate is a mix of urban, suburban, and rural voters, making it a challenging but essential battleground. Trump's slim lead here is a positive sign for his campaign, but the margin is narrow enough that Harris could still flip the state with a strong push in the final stretch. Virginia has been trending blue in recent elections, and the latest poll shows Harris with a 3-point lead, making this state lean Democratic. This is not surprising, as Virginia has been moving steadily toward the Democrats each year, driven by demographic changes, particularly in the northern Virginia suburbs. There were some concerning polls for Democrats when Biden was still in the race, but Harris seems to have erased those fears with her consistent lead here. While the state is not entirely out of reach for Trump, the 3-point margin suggests that Harris is favored to win Virginia's 13 electoral votes. Today's video is sponsored by Aura, and it's a really important time to be talking about them because hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from National Public Data, which offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. These stolen records include a range of sensitive details, including social security numbers, which were reportedly released online for free. If you weren't taking precautions with your personal information online before, this should be a huge wake-up call. You've never been more vulnerable online than you are right now. But I'm not too worried about it because I use Aura. You know, I've been dealing with countless spam calls lately. That's why I appreciate that Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, email, or social security number on the dark web. They're going to let me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or bank accounts, and they give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. They also provide a bunch of other features to keep you safe online, all inside one app. You can go to mylinkaura.com/hyper to try 14 days for free, which will be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. Pennsylvania, with its 19 electoral votes, is one of the most critical states in this election, and the latest poll from Trafalgar shows Trump with a 2-point lead, tilting the state Republican. However, it's important to note that this is a partisan poll, and prior polling here has shown a much tighter race. Pennsylvania has been a battleground in recent elections, and this year is no different. The state's diverse electorate, which includes a mix of urban, suburban, and rural voters, makes it a challenging state to predict. While Trump's lead in this poll is notable, the overall tightness of the race suggests that Pennsylvania could still go either way. Michigan is another key battleground, and the latest poll shows a tie between Trump and Harris. However, Harris is up in the aggregate, so we'll tilt the state her way for now. Michigan has had pretty solid polling for Harris throughout the campaign, but recent polls have been increasingly worrisome for Democrats. Michigan's 15 electoral votes are crucial for both campaigns, and the state's importance has only grown since it was a pivotal part of Trump's path to victory in 2016. The tie in the latest poll suggests that Michigan is still very much in play, and both campaigns will likely focus heavily on the state in the final weeks. Wisconsin is showing a similarly tight race, with Trump holding a 1-point lead, tilting the state Republican. This is another poll from Trafalgar, and, like Pennsylvania, it's a partisan poll, so it should be taken with a grain of salt. Previous polls have shown a wide range of results, indicating that Wisconsin is likely to be one of the closest states in this election. Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes are critical for both campaigns, and the state's status as a swing state has only been reinforced in recent years. The 1-point lead for Trump suggests that the race here will be another nail-biter, with the outcome potentially determining the overall winner of the election. Minnesota, with its 10 electoral votes, is leaning Democratic, with Harris holding a 5-point lead. This solid lead is not surprising, given that Walz is her running mate and the state's strong Democratic base. Minnesota has been a reliably Democratic state in presidential elections for decades, and Harris's lead here indicates that this trend is likely to continue. While Trump's campaign may still try to make a play for Minnesota, the 5-point margin suggests that Harris is well positioned to keep the state in the Democratic column. New Hampshire, with its 4 electoral votes, is also leaning Democratic, with Harris holding a 5-point lead. New Hampshire has a history of swinging between the two parties, but in recent elections, it has generally leaned Democratic. Finally, we have the split electoral votes from Maine at large and Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. Both are leaning Democratic, with Harris holding a slight edge in each. While these votes may seem small compared to larger states, in a close election, every electoral vote counts, and winning these could be crucial for Harris's path to 270. What we see is that Trump wins this map, but the race is still way too close to call. Virtually every swing state shows tilt leads that are well within error margins, meaning that 2 months out from Election Day, things could still easily go either way.